You know, for any creative person, especially a tattoo artist, there's this constant tug of war, right? It's the art versus all the admin stuff. Today, we're going to look at a tool that's designed to help you win that fight. It's a command center for tattoo studios. It's called AIVA, and it's all about letting artists get back to what they truly love doing, creating.
And really, this is the core of it all. It's about that focus, that creative flow, that moment you bring an idea to life on someone's skin. It's a pure artistic process that needs all of your attention. But, as anyone who's ever run a studio knows, that's really only half the story. And then there's this, the other half, the reality. It's the constant juggling of phone calls, schedules, questions, and just logistics. It's the necessary chaos that keeps the whole creative engine running. But what happens when that coordination completely takes over the creation?
Well, that's what we call the artist's dilemma. It's this daily battle for creative headspace against a non-stop flood of admin tasks that, they have to get done. But every single minute you spend on logistics is a minute you're not spending on your art.
And this is what that battle looks like day to day. You know the drill. Each one of these things seems small by itself. Just a quick phone call, a simple question about aftercare. But they add up. They become this constant stream of interruptions that pull you and your artists right out of that creative zone over and over and over again.
So, how do you actually win this battle? Well, the solution here is to introduce what's called a command center. But it's not some complicated piece of software you have to manage. It's more like a new member of your team.
So let's meet AIVA, and that's pronounced AIVA. Now, it's really important to get this. AIVA isn't a bot. Think of her as a fully integrated assistant who already knows your studio's voice, knows your workflow, and is on the clock 24/7. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does she actually do it? Let's break down the core functions that AIVA uses to turn all that daily chaos back into calm, creative focus.
This really paints a picture, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the reality for so many studios. The phone's always ringing, leads are getting lost in voicemail jail, and your team is just a broken record answering the same questions all day. But on the right, with AIVA, that all gets transformed into a smooth system where every call is handled, every lead is captured, and your team is finally free.
So what are her main jobs? Well, AIVA takes on the biggest time sucks. First, she picks up every single call, which means you never miss a lead again. She schedules consultations right into a shared calendar, following whatever rules you set. She's smart enough to route calls to the right person, but only when it's absolutely necessary. And get this, she can even automate inquiries for things like a tattoo academy.
Now this feature, this is about real peace of mind. What happens in an emergency? AIVA has a specific plan. If a client calls with something urgent, AIVA bypasses everything and immediately calls you with something called a whisper dial. It tells you who's calling and that it's an emergency. You just press any key and bam, you're connected. It's a seamless safety net.
And AIVA does way more than just answer calls. She actually creates intelligence for your studio. Every single interaction gets summarized. All your studio's info, from pricing to aftercare, becomes this searchable knowledge base. And each individual artist can even get their own mobile answering service, which turns every single call into a captured opportunity. Okay, this all sounds great for the workflow, I get it. But does it actually make financial sense? Let's talk about the money, because the case for the return on investment here is, well, it's pretty strong. It all starts with one kind of painful statistic. A typical busy studio can miss up to 30% of its incoming calls. Think about that. That's 3 out of every 10 potential clients who are just hitting voicemail or hearing a busy signal.
So, what does that 30% actually cost you? Well, based on average tattoo values, that can add up to over $10,000 in lost revenue every single month.
But here's the flip side. Just by answering every call and capturing those leads, AIVA can potentially recover over $6,000 of that lost money. This isn't about finding new customers, it's just about actually connecting with the ones who are already trying to give you their business.
So when you factor in the cost, it comes out to an absolutely incredible 60 times return on your investment. The system pays for itself many, many times over, just by catching the business you are already missing. It's kind of a no-brainer. All right, that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the offer. How hard is it to get this thing started, and what's the risk? Well, it's designed to be super simple and incredibly fast. The pricing is really straightforward. There's a one-time setup fee and then a simple monthly subscription plus usage.
I mean, when you think about it, saving just 5 consultations could be worth over $1,500. So this cost is just a tiny fraction of the value it brings in.
And to take away any doubt you might have, there's a guarantee. If you don't see a big drop in missed calls or a clear return on your investment within the first 60 days, you get your first month's fee back. It really makes trying it out a genuinely risk-free decision.
So, we end here. After we've looked at the logistics, the features, and the money, it all comes back to this one fundamental question. If all those constant interruptions were just handled, if all that administrative chaos was finally calmed, what could you and your artists create with all that time and focus you get back? Now that's something to think about.